I'm just excited that after that second quarter that you asked me a question, because that was a crazy just display of offense that we had in Oakland. That was fun to watch, kind of the last time on the baseball diamond. It's exciting. I got to sit across the locker room from 68, Will Shields, for 2 seasons, and got to kind of pick his brain, kind of get to see how he worked. And it's interesting. He'd be sitting in the game locker with his glasses on, just asleep, like before games. Not asleep, but just like in his zone. And I remember watching him on the field, like during training camp and stuff like that. And then you see him on a game day, and you're like, man, this is like a calm before one of the coolest storms you could kind of ever see. So for us to be tied right now, obviously it's exciting just for my family and I. But it's cool that I can kind of share this with him. I remember asking for his jersey in 2005. And he goes, I don't do jerseys until I'm done. That's bad luck. And man, sure enough, as soon as he retired, he showed up and like gave me this jersey signed and have it in my basement. And I remember I didn't have to ask again either. It was one of those, he's that kind of guy. So it's fun seeing how he did it and just trying to replicate, that kind of career. And obviously he was a every down except for fourth down guy, and I'm a fourth down guy. But so he was in the trenches.
Did Patrick Mahomes kind of help extend your career? Since, the offense is so prolific, you don't have to punt as much.
I think there's more like punchline jokes when I do get to punt. But I think so. I mean, anytime you're not working as much, but at the same time, I've talked that every kick, hold, snap, punt, everything is, more under the microscope, more important, and more kind of can affect the game. But it's been fun. It's fun watching that offense. I have to be honest, you can't get too caught up in it, because when you do, you're like, oh my gosh, we got to hold. You're running 90 yards to hold because you don't know you don't know when he's going to strike. And with the recent influx of 17 in there now, and we just have these guys that are just playing ball and executing. It's Coach Andy Reid's mind like coming alive on the gridiron, so it's really fun to watch.
So when you were going through some contract stuff, I think it was your conversation with your dad where he said kind of finish what you started. Are you reminded of that when you cross off like a milestone like that?
Yeah, I think definitely, because I went to him in 2012 and I said, man, it looks like it's going to crash and burn here, and I love it here. I love all the people, the organization, the family, the feel to it. And so when that kind of Andy Reid influence kind of came in, he's like, you gotta keep doing this. He said the one thing that he regretted was trying to go elsewhere after his kind of Pittsburgh Steelers days. And we have a very similar feel to our organizations, just with the family feel and just the history. And I got to wear I try not to think about this beforehand, because you wear a 50s patch, and if there's a 50s patch, unless God returns, there's going to be a 60s patch. And so I'm so excited that I get to wear that this season. So I think my dad was right, and it's what I wanted to do too. This is a special place for my family. I've raised all 5 of my kids kind of here, and so.
Yeah, Dustin, when did this record when did you become aware that you were kind of in line for this record? Has it been a while, or has it been recently that you kind of knew this was coming?
I knew the years were kind of like adding up and getting close. I had to sit out 2 games from a eventual surgery in the off season in 2008. Or I guess I kind of already been there, but I knew that it was kind of coming, because I always remembered Will kind of towards the end of his career. He could dunk a basketball, he could do all these things, and I was like, dude, this guy could play for like 30 years if he wanted to, it seemed like. And if you look at him now, he's still doing the same stuff. So I think as I got into that 14, 15, I remember, and you have great reminders, like the PR department here is great. And like I've actually had, I don't want to name names about Brad, but he'd actually like come down and said like, you're 1 away on this inside the 20 record this year. And so, and I was like, wow, I need that information, right? I'm just in a game trying to give our defense 90 yards or whatever it is. And he's like, you just need 1 more. You got this, then your next punt, just try to get it. And you're like, this is great. This is like a sports psychologist rolled into one and a PR guy. So
you talked about Will's pregame routine. What's yours?
I try to do the same thing. I try to listen to some music. I've always listened to some Buffett stuff kind of before the game, just kind of calm any kind of nerves you have going on. And then I'm just helping whoever our kicker is, working a lot with a snapper, spending a lot of time with those guys. and just making sure I try to carry out, what I did, what I worked on all practice, what their weapons are, how I could potentially get in trouble, and how I could, set up our defense to be excited, because they want to take that long diagonal towards the goal line, and I know that I want to be the defensive coordinator's best friends, me and Spags. I want him to be like, I love the punter. I want him to say that a lot, and so I just focus on that stuff. What's going to put our team in the best situation on game day.
Patrick said you got in particular.
Say that again.
Any Jimmy Buffett stuff in particular?
There was always a thing growing up. I was playing like soccer and anything but football, and so my grandfather was always like, "You need to be a son of a punter." And so the son of a sailor was always big for me. But he just, all of his, sometimes in the course of my career, you have seasons that are 2-14, and that doesn't happen when people like Andy Reid take over and do that stuff. And we were so lucky to get him since 2013. But I think his music kind of resonated, that sometimes you do have to roll with the punches, and adversity is something that you can use to propel yourself and to try to make you better. And I think that all of those years kind of have got me to that point and kind of prepared to do what I'm doing right now.
Obviously, you stuck it out here in hopes there would be times like this.
Right.
But in your darkest times, did you feel like it was never going to happen for you here, that you were just maybe destined to kick for a lot of bad teams, that's how it was going to be for you?
I was hopeful. I mean, you do 8 straight years and you have like 2 or 3 like good years in those 8, you just think like, man, what's going to be the difference maker? And then you think, you always hear small market jargon, stuff about that, and then you think we have a potential to, for 3 or 4 days we hear like we might be able to get, Andy Reid here. And you're like, it just blows your mind, because the only thing you've heard is small market. We want to try to get guys to come here and try to win and get our defense in that top 15 and stuff. That was like the talk back then. And now it's like we want to be the best at everything, every down, every day. And so that changed. And so when I heard that, I remember I was kicking on the indoor facility before going to Hawaii, and Andy was like, I want to talk to you, but like after you kick. And so there was a priority, like we work here, and then let's talk, but I want you to stay. And so there's no more hidden agenda, no like, let's make players guess about stuff. He's going to tell you exactly how it is and what he expects, and we're going to work together for that common goal and win.
Patrick said that you have a tip for everything because you've been around long enough. Who were the guys who were giving you tips? It's a little different when you're a punter. There's not 6 other punters hanging around, but who were you getting tips from about being a pro? I know your father probably, but what teammates made an impression besides Will?
Definitely. I think Will's big, but then you have like Eddie Kennison, Tony Gonzalez. I remember riding on planes with him, and he would downright tell you like, don't eat that steak, you need to have fish. Like, it's going to make you better. If your body's at a maximum level, then you're going to play better. And so that was big for me. When I came in, Lawrence Tynes and Kendall Gammon was here, and so they had, he had 13 years of experience where I got to kind of pick his brain. And so there's a lot of guys that have come here. John Carney was here briefly, and I got to really work on my holding there. I'd asked every question. I remember the first time I picked up grass like I've done my whole career and put it and told the kicker, I'm the caddy, this is where we're kicking off of. And so I'd put it down, and he went and put his own grass down. And so I was like, you're John Carney. And so, he played 20-something years in the league. And so I've just had a great influence of those guys. And I remember just Eddie Kennison from a faith standpoint, just really saying, stay who you are, remember who you are. That faith is the only thing that will never change in your life. There's a lot of stuff that can change that's out of your control. Control what you have, like, what you can control, really.
How much longer do you want to keep doing this?
As long as I can. That's kind of the emphasis, that question. I think we see a lot of guys like Tom Brady is, this. When is he ever going to be done? I mean, it looks like he can, keep going for a long time. And I just want to play to where I'm helping the team. I can help a young kicker out. I want to do that as long as my body feels good. I feel great. I had a patch there in, 8, 9, 10, and 16 where I was just constantly having like stuff kind of going on. I feel like I've just really learned how to eat better and take care of myself, and I like to go as long as I can. I mean, there's not like a set goal. I let God kind of do that. I want him to have that line of like, this is how long I'm going to play, just work, keep your head down, and do everything you can in the meantime on a daily basis.
Dustin, do you feel like you're performing better than you ever have, or as good as you ever had in your career because of the experience and what you've added to your regime and the tips you've put to use?
I think so at times. I had a rough second and fourth punt in Oakland. It was just I didn't handle the wind very good. You got to really lock down and see that ball all the way through impact. This was definitely my best training camp I've ever had, preseason and practices and stuff like that. But 2 punts are the ones that haunt you, and they get lost once you keep doing what you're supposed to do. But yeah, I definitely this is the best my body's felt and my mind and everything like that. And I think that's just because we have good continuity with Coach Tobe, and Rod brings a lot of energy because he played special teams in the league, and so we're just in a great place and a lot of good players to play with, and just a great work environment. So it's fun to have all of those ingredients that hadn't been here all the time through my career.
You been lobbying for any fakes or anything? Got anything up your sleeve?
No. Dave's always like, we punt to win. So, and I think that's true, and it's funny and it's true. If he calls something up, we're gonna definitely do it. I'm sure it's in there at some point this season. But right now our thing is give the defense a lot of field to work with, try to pin them deep, and hang it up. That's the biggest thing. As I get older, I always look in the off season at Pro Football Focus and I see like where I'm hanging, and I think the highest guy is in that 4.52 a year, and I'm up 4.42, and so I'm like right in the pack. There's some indoor guys in front of me, and I think if that starts going down, I'm just gonna say I can't. I'm not. If you can't hang it in this league, then you get in trouble, and so that's what you got to try to do is keep those guys, because they're tired. They're tired. A lot of them are playing both sides of the ball and expected a lot. And so my job is to say, like, if we don't have to cover 75 to 80% of our punts, which a punter would want to take pride in like that, then I've done my job.